guys, it's Bina with TCM Review Seminars. I've been teaching students to pass their board exams for over a decade now. I help students with their California licensing exams, the national exams, and also the Pan-Canadian exams. For today's presentation, we're looking at mother and child points. This theory is important for nationals and also Pan-Canadian exams. California students, if you know the Korean 4-needle technique, you're good to go. Okay, so mother-child theory. We are using the 5 shoe points, the 5 transporting points, or 5 elemental points. I'm not sure which term you're used to using, but they go by any of these 3. So you should be familiar with this table. It's from the big picture. What's important here will be knowing where the horary points are and also knowing how to find the sun and the mother points. So let's start with the horary points. Horary points on this table are all marked in red. They are the points where the column, which is the column element, like here we have metal, and the channel element line up, right? So this is a metal column, and the lung is connected to the metal element. So metal on metal is 8. When we drop down to spleen, spleen is an earth channel. We find the earth point on the earth channel. 1 is wood, fire is 2, earth is 3. So this is earth on earth. Pericardium is considered a fire element channel, and fire on fire for pericardium is 8. Next, let's talk about positioning. We're going to find the sun points and the mother points. And so here, we want to think of it as a timeline. If we think of our children, our son, right? They are 1 generation after us. If we think of our mothers, we're thinking of a generation before us. So if you think of it this way, this middle dot represents the present. It represents you, and it represents the horary points. So let's mark those to begin with. So lung horary is 8, spleen horary is 3, heart horary is 8, kidney horary is kidney 10, pericardium would be 8, and liver is 1. Okay, so we've got those placed. Next, we're going to look at the mother point. The mother point is 1 generation before us, so it's in the past. So when you're thinking of a timeline, everything to the left is the past, everything to the right is the future. And so here we have the lung mother is 9. It's 1 to the left of the horary point. All right, next we have spleen, and the mother point for spleen will be spleen 2, which is 1 to the left of the horary point. And then for heart, of course, would be 9 here. Kidney, 1 to the left would be kidney 7. For pericardium, 1 to the left of the horary point is pericardium 9. And for liver, notice there isn't a point to the left. And so this is actually a circle, right? We think of it as a circle. So when there's nothing to the left, we're going to circle all the way around to the back of the line, and the mother point for liver is liver 8. Okay, let's look at the child points. So children are our future. They're our future generations, and so we think of them as to the right, in our future. And so for lung, that would be lung 5. For spleen, the horary is 3, so that would be spleen 5. For heart, the horary here is heart 8, and so the point would be heart 7. For kidney is like liver, in that liver we didn't have a point to the left. For kidney, we don't have a point to the right, so we're going to circle around, and the sun point is kidney 1. Then we have pericardium 7, and then last of all we have liver. The horary is 1, so liver 2 is the sun point. All right, now we have 2 rules that we want to remember for mother and child theory. Okay, so the first rule is With deficiency, we tonify the mother. And with excess, we're going to sedate the son. Okay? So those are the two you want to remember. So technically, we're only looking for 1 point, right? But after we do some examples, you'll see that there are 3 possibilities. And it's going to depend on how the question's phrased as to what or which point you'll pick. Okay, these are our yin organs. We're going to move on to yang organs now. But before we look at the next slide, I want you to notice that yin organ begin with wood. It's wood, fire, earth, metal, water. Begins with wood, follows the generating cycle. Now, when we look at yang organs, it begins with metal, still follows the generating cycle. We go metal, water, wood, fire, and then earth. Okay, so now that we've established those, let's pull up our timeline again. The present represents you, and it's also called a horary point, and those are these points here. And then 1 to the left are the mother points. The mother represents the past generation, or your mother represents the past generation. So in the case of large intestine, it was like liver on the previous page where we didn't have a point to the left. So we circle around and go to large intestine 11. There's the mother. For stomach, 1 point to the left of the horary would be stomach 41. That's our mother. For small intestine, it would be small intestine 3. For bladder, it would be bladder 67. For Sanjiao or triple energizer or triple burner, it would be triple burner 3. And for gallbladder, it would be gallbladder 43. Okay. Then we have our future, which is our child. So the child point is 1 to the right. So for large intestine, that would be large intestine 2. For stomach, we would circle around, so it'd be stomach 45. For small intestine, it would be small intestine 8. For the bladder, it would be bladder 65. For Sanjiao, it would be Sanjiao 10 or triple energizer 10 or triple burner 10. And then for gallbladder, it would be gallbladder 38. Remember the 2 rules. We have, for deficiency, tonify the mother. For excess, sedate the son. So for deficiencies here, if the large intestine was deficient, we would tonify large intestine 11, which might seem counterintuitive because we usually use it to drain excess heat. But this is a totally different theory, so just go with it. Now, if large intestine was excess, we would use the water point or the yin spring point, large intestine 2, to treat the large intestine. So if we looked at bladder as an example, if we had bladder deficiency, we might use bladder 67. If we have bladder excess, we would use bladder 65. All right. As I said, there are 2 more points that you can use for points that are possible points to treat this issue. So first, let's look at our external and internal points. So when we have deficiency, we can tonify the mother of the organ that's affected, or we can tonify the mother of the yin-yang paired organ. So let's say the lungs are affected. So if the lungs have deficiency, we could tonify the mother of the lungs, or we could tonify the mother of the large intestine. Make sense? They're both metal organs. Same thing for excess. If we have excess, we can sedate the son of the yin and yang paired organ. So let's say liver has excess. We can sedate the son point or the child point on the liver channel, or we can sedate the child point or son point on the gallbladder channel. Let's look at a few examples. So say we have Joshua, and he has a chronic cough with a weak voice. He sweats easily, even when he hasn't been working out. His pulse is empty. His tongue is pale with a thin white coat. Using mother-child theory, how would you treat this case? Well, obviously, this is a deficiency, right? And so we can tonify the mother point of the lung channel. We can tonify the mother point of the large intestine channel, or we can tonify the horary point of the mother element. Now this dips back into our Korean 4-needle technique. And so if you haven't watched those videos, do go watch those after this one. But let's take a look at what those 3 points might look like. So just remember these rules. Tonify the mother point of the lung channel, tonify the mother point of the large intestine channel, and tonify the horary point of the mother element. So here we have our table with our shoe points. So we said lungs are deficient. We're going to tonify the mother. So lung mother is lung 9, right? It's 1 point off from the horary point. So that's lung 9. And lung 9 is an earth element. So in addition to lung 9, remember what the third point was. We can tonify the horary point of the mother element. So lung 9 is an earth point. So we can also use the spleen point. Spleen is the earth line, and the earth point on the earth line, the horary, it matches the mother, the lung mother, is spleen 3. And it should be fairly easy. So if we say that lung 9 is the mother, we can scroll down to the first red point that we see, right? Spleen 3. If spleen 2 is the mother, the third point that we could use would be heart 8. That's also in red. Heart 8 is the fire, right? Fire point on the fire channel. Spleen 2 is the fire point on the spleen channel. So when we look at kidney mother is kidney 7. Kidney 7 is a metal element point. So if we look for the horary point for the mother element, that would be lung 8. Lung 8 is the metal on metal point. For pericardium, the mother point is 9, which is a wood point. And so we would use wood on wood, which is liver 1. Does that make sense for everyone? I hope so. Okay, now the next point that we can use the mother on the lung channel. Lungs paired organ is large intestine. We can use the mother on the large intestine organ as well. So that would be large intestine 11. Seems strange to tonify it, but like I said, just go with it. Okay, let's list those points again. So the mother point of the lung channel, we're going to tonify lung 9. The mother point on the large intestine channel, we're going to tonify large intestine 11. And then last of all, we're going to tonify the horary point of the mother element. So lung 9 was an earth element point. So we're going to tonify the horary point for the earth channel, which is spleen 3. Okay, fairly easy, right? It's not that you have to give all 3 points. You might just be asked to give the mother point of the large intestine or the mother point of the internally paired organ channel, or you'll be asked for the mother point of the affected channel, or you'll be asked for the horary point of the mother element. Okay, so those are the 3 ways that will show up on tests. Now let's look at another case. In this one, we have stomach excess. And the question is, in cases of stomach excess, which point will you sedate? Which point will you sedate on the internal-external paired channel? Using the sun element, which horary point will you sedate? So these are examples of how the questions might show up or tend to show up on exams. Okay, so we have stomach excess in this case, and we're going to sedate the sun. So the stomach sun is stomach 45, right? And it's a metal point. So we're going to sedate stomach 45. We're also going to sedate the mother element horary point, which is large intestine 1. And then in addition to that, we're going to look at the spleen channel, right? Because spleen is earth and stomach is earth. And the spleen channel sun is spleen 5. It's the metal on metal point. So let's write them down. Our first point will be to sedate stomach 45. Our second point is to sedate spleen 5. Which is the metal point on the metal channel. Okay, that's it. Mother-child points. You've got them down. If you want extra help, check out my classes. The links are below. Visit tcmreview.com for the US tests, tcmreview.ca for the Canada tests. If you are on Facebook and you like daily questions, you can find our questions on Facebook. We also have questions daily on Instagram. We're just starting that up, so you'll see that roll out in the next few weeks. All right, until the next time.